Hi, my name is Josh Bachynski, and I'm going to show you very quickly what is the number one overlooked SEO trick of all time. This is the number one SEO trick that is the most overlooked SEO trick. I can't believe how many people overlook this, how many people don't know about this, how many people don't trust this. It is the number one overlooked SEO trick of all time, and it always works. I guarantee you it will work. It will improve your SEO 100% of the time. Do you know what the number one overlooked SEO trick of all time is? Evidence. Evidence? Yes, evidence. This thing called scientific evidence. Good SEO evidence is the top SEO trick of all time. It's the most important thing for your SEO. If you do not have good SEO evidence, you don't have any SEO game. Think about it. Everyone starts with some SEO evidence, right? Some kind of evidence causes them to generate some SEO theories based on what Google is ranking. That causes them to take SEO actions, and that causes some kind of SEO result or some lack thereof. And in fact, that's what we're seeing more and more in the industry in 2018 and beyond. In fact, 60% of SEOs said in a poll recently that they're moving away from SEO, with 10% quitting SEO altogether. And that was from Barry Schwartz's blog, SEO Roundtable, in 2017. So the main question here is, where are they getting, where is your SEO, or if you're an SEO, where are you getting? And if you hire an SEO, where are they getting this information from? So this is the biggest tip I can give you for SEO. Before doing any SEO at all, the most important SEO trick is politely asking your SEO what his or her rock solid evidence is for their SEO theories. What rock solid evidence are they using to base on your entire business and your entire marketing strategy if you rely on your Google rankings at all? All those thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're risking on these people, what are the evidence for their SEO theories? And let me tell you right now, I will tell you the 5 possible types of evidence they're going to use, and I will tell you why you shouldn't listen to them when they give you that answer, and what the only correct answer is. There are only 5 types of SEO evidence they could possibly say they're going to use, and all 5 answers are wrong except for one, and I'm going to show you what that is right now. So, there are 5 ranks of necessary SEO evidence, ranging here from the best, which we call single variable experiments or otherwise scientific kind of experiments, and all the way to the worst kind of evidence, which is the common herd opinion of what the herd SEOs think. Like you're sitting at the lunch table at SMX West, and you look over to the guy to your right and say, hey, what do you think the biggest ranking factor is? He says, blue unicorns. That's his opinion, right? And so that's the opinion of this guy. That's the worst kind of evidence based on what you should base your entire SEO plan. And that's the best kind of evidence with different kinds of evidence in between. The problem is that most SEOs don't get past number 3 evidence, the third best kind of evidence, which is in the field observations. You know what that is. That's when I've been doing SEO for 10 years, and I've done this on every site, and none of my sites have been deranked, and so therefore it's a good SEO theory. That's what most SEOs don't get past, right? Just because he did it on 10 sites, or whatever, 30 sites over 10 years, doesn't mean it's a good SEO tactic. And quite frankly, most of the SEOs I know out there at the SMX conferences and all these white hats at the big Moz conferences and whatnot, for the most part, they would hate me saying this, but I'm sorry, it's true. Most of them only talk to each other and only go off their own opinions. You know, oh, well, Rand Fishkin said this, his opinion is, and so I'm going to base my entire SEO theory off it in hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is a kind of evidence, but it's not the only kind of evidence, and quite frankly, it's the worst kind of evidence. We all know hearsay is the worst kind of evidence, that the opinion of hoi polloi is the worst kind of evidence. Everybody knows this. And so why do we give it a pass in the SEO industry? It is no different in the SEO industry. So I'm going to go through these 5 kinds of evidence, and I'm going to show you why they're good and why they're bad, and what the only correct answer is. When you ask your SEO, and I'm telling you, I'm challenging you to go and ask your SEO, where do you get your SEO knowledge from? And we'll see what they say here. So the first kind here, as I said, is the opinion of the herd. Of course, the problem here, even experts, like there's lots of experts here on YouTube. You're listening to one right now. I've been doing SEO as long as anybody else. But the problem with our just opinions that we give you, including myself, is you have to ask, are we selling something? Am I giving you this information for free as a public service? Or am I going to give you a big sales pitch at the end of this? Newsflash, I'm not going to give you a big sales pitch at the end of this video. I'm putting this out there just because it annoys the hell out of me what goes on in the SEO industry. So you got to vet it through your own common sense. Is this person trying to sell me something? What are they trying to sell? People who have really fancy videos with really high production value, I start to wonder, they're obviously trying to sell you their book, their course, or something like that, sign on to their whatever. That is, I think you have to weigh with a whole big dose of common sense. That's the worst kind of evidence. If your whole game is based off of the opinions of other SEOs who write on blogs, you're in trouble. The next evidence level up from that, which is slightly better, is what Google says. Why is it slightly better? Well, because they work at Google, and so they have direct access to what the ranking factors probably are, or more direct access than we do. And so they could know what the ranking factors are. The problem is that they're not really selling you something per se, but they need to protect their algorithms and they need to protect their jobs. For example, people go onto John Mueller's Hangout on a regular basis, and it blows my mind, and they point blank ask him, John Mueller, tell me what the ranking factors are. He can't do that. He will get fired. Even if he knew all of them, which he doesn't. He knows probably 80%, 90% of them. But even if he knew all of them, he couldn't tell you because he would get fired. You'd have to give him a job the next day. He'd have to come work at your SEO company. So this includes ex-Google employees. This includes what they tell you at a conference. This includes what they tell you behind the scenes. This includes what they say in a video. You can't trust totally what Google says. It's a good piece of evidence. If they say, I wouldn't do that, that's probably a bad idea. I would listen to that. But when they say what is a good idea, the vague things they say, like make the best quality site possible, quote unquote, and what does that even mean? I would vet what they say through common sense, because remember, they need to protect their algorithms and they need to protect their jobs. If someone gets too close to what the true ranking algorithms are, they're going to deny it point blank. Google and John Mueller will deny point blank what you ask him. That's their modus operandi. So you have to, again, vet what Google says through common sense. Okay, well, what's the next level of the best kind of SEO evidence? Well, there's in-the-field observations, right? This is the kind of evidence that probably 50% of the industry goes off of. The other industry goes off just what other people say. For the 10% who actually watch the Google Hangouts every week. Maybe not even that. There's their views of the Google Hangouts are like 3,000. There's hundreds of thousands of people working in the SEO industry, so that's like 1% of the SEO field industry actually watches the Google videos, which is kind of pathetic when it's free information, but it's not the best evidence, but it's some evidence. Anyway, they use in-the-field observations, and they've been doing SEO for 5 whole years straight, and they rank a whole 5 sites in e-commerce sites in one niche in one location, right? And so they're experts now because they know they're ranking their sites, and they know they filled out the disavow file, and 5 months later they got 3-spot boost in ranking. So it must have been that disavow file 5 months ago. As you can probably tell by what I'm saying here, this is not the best kind of evidence. The problem here is these are non-scientific judgments, right? In-the-field observations are one thing, but they're nowhere near as important as scientific judgments as controlled experiments. There's a reason why science doesn't just work in hospitals and they have research facilities, because you can't tell if you give a pill to a body in a hospital, there's about 20 other things affecting that human being at the same time. You don't know if it's what you gave them, or it's what they ate for breakfast, or it's the gas in the air, or you have no idea. These are non-scientific judgments. So if all they have to defend, and this is what most SEOs have to defend themselves, quite frankly, the majority of the industry. And so if this is all they have to defend themselves, you should fire them immediately, because they really do not know. And keep in mind, in the field observations, I'm talking about people who, like myself, who's done dozens of audits of live sites per month. I audit hundreds of sites a year. I do dozens of sites per month audits all across the board, English, non-English, e-commerce, knowledge-based, local and global. And that's what I'm basing on my in-the-field observations. And I still only give it number 3 in terms of truthiness. In terms of proofiness, it's only number 3, and it's subordinate. It's insufficient. It's inferior compared to the next levels of evidence that I'm going to tell you, which any philosopher, any human being, any scientist, any rational human being who's listening to this is going to have to nod their head and go, you know what, Josh, you're right. This is the way this is the way knowledge works, folks. Okay, here's the next level up of evidence. It is called a correlation study. You know what a correlation study is. Search metrics, for example, run by Markus Toba over in Germany. I always have to say his name that way because I met the guy once. He's this tiny little guy, but he has Arnold Schwarzenegger's accent. I found it to be the funniest thing. No offense against Markus Tober. He's a very nice guy. Anyway, they do correlation studies. And they watch like 10 million different search pages, 10 million different search queries. And they kind of correlate out what seems to be ranking for all the pages on those 10 million queries. Here's the problem with that. It's too vague, right? It's going across, it's not in your niche only. It's going across all niches: English, non-English, local, global, e-commerce, knowledge, questions, voice searches. It's going across with all the different carousel and all the different ways Google will rearrange that data and present that data. It is non-scientific. It is not specific enough. What you need to do is do massive correlation studies on your own field. How do you do that? Well, there's this piece of software called Quora. Now, I'm not saying you have to go buy Quora. There's a link to go buy it if you want, with I believe it has about a 25% discount. You can go get it if you like, or not. You can do this manually if you want to. By all means, do it manually. But what Quora will do is you'll type in, it's like a Google emulator. You'll type into Google, it uses Google, but it's like a Google SERP overlay almost. And you'll type into Google, let's say I want to rank for red shoes. You'll type in red shoes, and it'll tell you what's correlating for page 1 for your niche you want to rank for red shoes, the search query red shoes. And it looks over 500 factors, both all the on-page factors and all the conceivable off-page factors. Links, social, no follow, do follow, domain 301s, all the on-page factors. H1s, titles, bolds, italicized, span tags, div tags, CSS, time to first byte, all that stuff. At 500 points, probably more points than Google is using to rank. And it'll tell you what's correlating on page 1 and what's correlating on page 20. And it'll tell you, you want to do this page 1 stuff and you don't want to do this page 20 stuff. That is fantastic. And that is a much stronger piece of evidence than just someone's opinion, non-scientific observation of what they saw in the field, what Google said, right? And what just really someone's opinion you met at lunch or read on a blog. That's the worst kind of evidence. It's a piece of evidence, but it's the worst kind of evidence. But why don't I have this number 1 on my list here? Well, there's a reason I have my number 1 on my list, because there's a possibility of a cause correlation fallacy here. There's a possibility of a cause correlation fallacy here, and there's a possibility of a cause correlation fallacy here. For example, if you run Quora and you run the correlation powerful site, let's say you wanted to rank for, I don't know, Lawyer Los Angeles, and you saw that all the sites on page 1 in Lawyer Los Angeles had their meta keywords tag filled out with a bunch of keywords in them. You might therefore infer that the meta keywords tag is a ranking factor. Now, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? They all correlate to being, right? All the sites on page 1 had it, so it's highly correlative, so maybe it is causal, you don't know. But it probably isn't, and some things could be dangerous. Like if they all have really spammy links, you might think, well, I should go buy some spammy links. That might not be the best way to operate. Just because all the 10 sites on divorce lawyer LA, very high competition search results, as you can imagine. They've probably all dabbled a little bit in some black hat links, and so they probably all have it, so it probably all correlates, but those black hat links may be helping them, may be hurting them, you don't know. If they all have them, if they're all hurt equally, then you won't see the effect of them being hurt. So this is a very powerful piece of software, and quite frankly, you could base your entire SEO game on just this piece of software alone. And if you just want a piece of software okay, forget the SEO theories, Josh. I don't have time to be an SEO scientist like you are. Just give me a piece of software that's going to tell me what to do. Then you want to go buy Quora. That's what you want to do. It's a monthly subscription. You could try it for a month, see how you like it. It will tell you exactly what to do, in non-thinking terms. Add 10 keywords here. Add 1 keyword to your title. Remove 3 keywords here. Add 50 links like this. Boom, you're done. Then you'll be exactly like who's ever ranking page 1 in the whatever search phrase you gave me. And that would work. You could do it that way. The problem is, if you want to be a true SEO consultant, if you want to be a true SEO master like a lot of these people claim to be, and be able to give advice across the board to English and non-English, to local and global, to e-commerce and knowledge-based rankings, to porn or adult or not, or I've done it all. I've done it all, folks. I mean, I've SEO'd porn sites. I haven't performed in porn movies. Please do not go out there looking for any porn movies. Please do not make any fake ones either. Well, if they are, send them to me first. They might be funny, but my point is that you can't just go off the correlations alone. If you really want to be an SEO master, if you want to be an SEO master, you have to be like a scientist, and you have to do single variable experiments. Now, what is a single variable experiment? A single variable experiment, these are so powerful. All this evidence getting up to number one, the first rank here of evidence, is so powerful, guys. This is going to change your game. It's experiments done in a controlled environment. You make up a bunch of fake servers with fake pages with nonsense on them that Google has never seen before, and you just let them sit there, and they normalize after a while, and this, gobbledygook page 1, gobbledygook page 2, and search phrases that Google's never seen before, right? You can do it in English, you can do it in Latin, you can do it in fake languages. It works all across the board. And you spin them sufficiently so they're different, right? I can tell you how to do this, guys. It's really cool, and it's really interesting when you start. It's so fun, it's so cool when you start doing your own experiments and seeing really what Google is ranking. And you can go to these SMX conferences and tell these jerk-offs, like, well, no, I ran the experiment, you're wrong, buddy. Oh, yeah, here's the results. That's a lot of fun, trust me. So, and that's how you do it, and you test. Like, okay, does meta keywords? Okay, so I've correlated highly here, meta keywords, or correlated highly with rankings. Are they causal? So it's easy to test. You go here and you put a meta keywords in one of your pages and see if it outranks the rest of the pages. If it doesn't, then you say, I cannot affirm that hypothesis. It was a hypothesis. All these generate hypotheses. Only this generates proof, right? You understand that. All these generate hypotheses of what might rank. Only this one is the place where you affirm or deny those hypotheses, because that's how science works. And this is as scientific as we can get in the SEO community by doing single variable SERP experiments where you control the SERP. And there's no links being built, there's no traffic going to it, there's no social, nothing goes on. And no, you don't visit them yourself except for a Tor browser, because Google doesn't track what happens in a Tor browser. I happen to know for a fact Google tracks what happens in a Chrome browser. This is how I found that out, folks. If you want more information about my experiments, or you want to follow more of my channel, at youtube.com/jbachynski, J-B-A-C-H-Y-N-S. But that is the best kind of evidence. It's the most truthy. It's where you prove hypotheses. And this is what you need to have. I'm sorry, but this is what you need to have if you want to call yourself an SEO master and charge $10,000 for your stupid SEO course. I won't mention any names. Okay, now, that being said, you might be like, well, Josh, that takes a lot of time. And I'm like, you're right. It does take a lot of time. I spend hours and hours doing this, right? I have assistants who help me who spend dozens of hours doing this. So there is a group called the SEO Intelligence Agency. You can join them if you like. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to. You could run these yourself, and quite frankly, you should. You should run these experiments yourself. But that's the way science works. It's all peer-reviewed. The SEO Intelligence, this is a link to join. Use the Josh as a coupon code for, I think it was 15% off or 25% off. I can't remember. You can join this group if you want, if you don't have the time to do it yourself. They've done hundreds of tests already, and they're doing new tests every month. Here's the beautiful thing, though, is I independently test their tests, and they test my tests. And I know other people in the industry who are testing my tests as well. And that's what you want, is you want an SEO community who works like scientists, who are going to politely and in a friendly way critique and try to prove or disprove your experiment. For example, I just recently checked to see if bounce rate is an actually negative ranking factor, and it is not. I cannot affirm that hypothesis. They said that it was. SI said that it was. I tested it, and I've disproven it, or I've shown that I could not prove what they proved. So there's a problem there, either their test or my test, right? That's how science works, and that's the kind of level you need to operate on. And that's the kind of time you need to commit. So if you don't have the time to do it yourself, you just want to read what they say, I fully understand that, then join the SI. Watch my videos at youtube.com/jbachynski, where I give out this information for free, or join SIA, or both. It's actually not a half bad idea. Get Quora, get SIA, you will be an SEO master. This line right here, if you can see my mouse moving around, hopefully, above number 3 is where the SEO masters are. This is where the SEO newbies are. And quite frankly, that's where 80% of the industry is, which is kind of funny. It's kind of pathetic, actually, quite frankly. So that is the best SEO trick I can give you for any year that always works is having the best SEO evidence. And so I'm challenging you. I challenge you to go ask your SEO gurus, whoever you like, whoever's your SEO guru. You know, it could be a Bachlinko this or a Bacher guy that, whatever their names are, right? Go and ask them and tell them Josh Bachynski sent you, by the way, and ask, okay, just ask them, what are the 5 levels of SEO evidence? What are the 5 levels? They're gonna have no idea. They're gonna go, John Mueller, my blog I write, they're gonna have no idea even what you're asking them, right? They don't even have that level of knowledge when you're asking them what are the 5 levels or what are the 5 ranks of SEO evidence. They won't even be able to fill this out. They won't even be able to explain to you what it is. Never mind have they done it. So go ask them where they get evidence for their SEO theories. You know, it's only your business at stake, quite frankly. It's only your business at stake. It's only your reputation at stake. It's only your clients' lives and their money at stake. So you have a duty to go and find out this information. I would go and ask, you know, if they don't use all 5 levels of SEO evidence. So here's what the best thing is that this all needs to work together, right? So here's how I base my SEO theories. If I've done an experiment and the experiment was affirmed and it correlates with rankings and Google says to do it or doesn't say not to do it, that's how I know. I have 3 levels of evidence, or in the field observations. I usually have 4 or 5 levels of evidence. I usually can speak to all 5 levels and base all my SEO strategies based on all of this. Sometimes I haven't tested it in a single variable experiment because it's hard to do. So I'll have 4 levels of evidence telling you what I do. Or you know, that's how I base my SEO theories off of. What do they base their SEO theories off of? And if they don't use all 5 levels of that SEO evidence, that's where the masters are. That's where the truly experienced SEOs are, the kind of SEOs you should trust with your money. If they don't have all 5 levels of evidence, quite frankly, do not listen to them. Do not listen to them. You're going to lose your money. It might work one month, it might work the next month, but the 3rd month it's not going to work. It's going to fall apart at some point. You're going to lose all your money. You're going to lose all your websites, and you will be screwed. And I've seen it again and again. Hundreds of people have come to me every year crying because their websites are not ranking anymore. They don't know why, and their SEOs can't tell them why. This is my business model. That's all I do is help people like this, right? And I'm very wealthy. I have a lot of people coming to me, right? More people than I can handle, quite frankly. I have a waiting list for my audits, are like 3 weeks long, 2 or 3 weeks long, because I'm very good at fixing this and everyone else is very good at messing it up and screwing it up. So do not forget, I know it's a little chintzy to sneak in a bait and switch answer you probably weren't expecting, but accept it because this is the top SEO trick of all time. Evidence is the top SEO trick of all time that will always work. It will always work. The best evidence is what you need. You need to go with all 5 levels, preferably, not just level 3 like most SEOs or level 5 like most SEOs or like 1% of the industry that listens to what John Mueller says or occasionally sees Google at a conference, right? 5 years ago, Gary Ilyish may have winked at you in the hallway and therefore you think that the disavow file works. You know, that's not the way to do SEO. And if your CEO, if your boss knew actually how little you knew and how poor your evidence was, you could probably be in some trouble, buddy. So, or if your client knew. So I would get on these 5 levels of evidence. If you have any other questions, if you want to know more about how to do that, or you want to learn more about the experiments I've already done, I can already show you with definitive proof what you should be doing for SEO, what you shouldn't be doing. Same with the SEO Intelligence Agency can. Same with the Core software can show you huge correlations of what does correlate with rankings and what doesn't correlate with rankings. Email me. I'd be happy to answer your questions at joshbachynski@gmail.com. If you want to follow me at Twitter, you can also follow me on Twitter at joshbachynski. And again, you can watch more videos like this at youtube.com/jbachynsk. That's JBACHYNS. So again, thanks for listening, folks. Don't forget, evidence is your best SEO trick. It'll always work, and that's what you need to be a true SEO master. So good luck in the SERPs, and send me an email, and I'd love to chat with you. Bye-bye.